Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Raj Malhotra's IAS. So, we are in the 9th week of our current affairs discussion. Here, that is Snigdha Singla, I discuss with you the current affairs related to international relations as well as your history part or art and culture part also, right? So, the topics of for our today's discussion are going to be these four majorly. So first we will look into the India-UK relations and the recent developments in the bilateral relations, right? Then we will move on to the recent issue that India and China relations are facing, right? We are not going to deal India-China in detail for today, right? We will also do that some other day. But for today, we'll just discuss a minor issue between the two countries. Then we will move to the 400th Prakash Parv or birth anniversary of Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, and whatever we can learn from his life, all the teachings of Guruji, and we will try to relate that to our ethics, that is GS4 part, so that you are able to write more impressive answers, right? See, these kind of examples and teachings, they help you a lot in, glorifying your answer and get more marks. So in ethics, I used to get very good marks. So my approach of using these articles or these lessons and teachings will help you also to fetch more marks, right? Then related to this is another ethics topic, that is deontological and teleological ethics. So we will discuss them briefly also, right? So let's begin the discussion for today. So before you start, so I want to remind you all again, like I told last week, that we are, conducting this all India prelims test series, the Siddhi series, right? This is going to be very helpful for you for preparing, for honing your prelims preparation. Already 2 tests have been held at all India level and thousands of students have registered for the same. Now you can also be part of the 3rd test that is going to be conducted on 1st May, right? And for this test you will have to register on this website, or you can call this number to get yourself registered. Please do register yourself, test yourself in this test itself before the UPSC tests you, okay? You can accordingly modify your preparation according to your performance in the test. So do take this test, right? Now let's jump to our today's discussion. Good afternoon, everyone, right? Whoever is joining us right now. Okay, so the first topic for today's discussion is going to be India-UK. This is the UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and here you can see Prime Minister Modi, right? So like always, before jumping into the details of the recent visit, we will just discuss briefly about the bilateral relationship, right? Right, now, so the basics of India-UK relations are little complex. See, we started building our bilateral relationship when the East India Company came into India and slowly became the, you can say, the ruler of India. So for over almost 200 years, the England or the British people have been ruling over us, or they ruled over us in the past, and that is where the relationship between India and UK or England began, right? So this is the defining element of the bilateral relationship. ठीक है, तो आज के the major irritants between the two country begin with the negative, you can say, colonial legacy that the two countries share, right? They had their inferiority complex even after independence, and we are not happy with all the wrongs, as we can say, that were committed to us by the England. They plundered our wealth, they took our gems, they took our diamonds, right? Then they treated us in an inferior manner. So all those bad memories of the colonial time still haunt the relationship, bilateral relationship of the two countries, ठीक है? So the political level पे बहुत ज़्यादा जो है, आप कह सकते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा टाइज जो है स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं हो पाए हैं दोनों कंट्रीज़ के बीच में. वन रीज़न बीइंग दी colonial ghost, you can say, that has haunted the bilateral relationship of the two countries, right? Now next you see, so that colonial exploitation was the major, has been the major irritant between the two countries. आपने शशि थरूर, बहुत ही prominent इंडियन जो MP रह चुके हैं, उन्होंने भी ब्रिटेन को और उसकी पॉलिसीज को बहुत क्रिटिसाइज किया है विद इन द ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट, राइट, showing that how India was exploited by Britain. So that sentiment still remains within Indians. We are not very well, you know, we do not have very positive outlook of the UK or England government. So that is why you can say at the country level also the relationship cannot be very healthy or very positive. ठीक है, तो ये cause रहता है of you know, medium, you can say, level relationship between the two countries, right? Then there are multiple fugitive economic offenders, like you can see these are all the economic offenders who committed economic crimes in India and they fled to foreign lands, right? So two of them, that is Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi, these two people are staying, they have taken shelter in England and they are not being returned smoothly to Indian government. India has to fight a long case to get these fugitives back, right? So these fugitives taking you know, safe haven, as we may say, in England is also causing a lot of problem for us. देखिए कोई भी crime करके भाग जाता है and England की government या authorities, they do not cooperate with us on this issue, so that creates an, you know, negative sentiment again. ठीक है, हम भी ये पसंद नहीं करते हैं that why England is not cooperating, our government is also not cooperating in a healthy way with England. So ये भी issue जो है एक major irritant है दोनों के bilateral relationship में, right? So the next issue is the anti-India groups. So you see, jab bhi there is some trouble in India, you will see it will get support in England or in the cities of UK, London, etc. So what, like for example, the farmer protest. In the recent farmer protest, you see there were a lot of anti-India protests that were happening in UK, and also the embassies of India there, outside the embassy also. So you see anti-India groups, Khalistani groups and many other types of groups who are not conducive to the interests of India, they operate from UK's land, and the government of England has not been, or UK has not been cooperating very well with India on this regard also. ठीक है, तो हमारी सिक्योरिटी इंटरेस्ट को ये ग्रुप्स जो हैं हार्म करते हैं, और हमारी सिक्योरिटी के लिए ही अगर यूके या जो हमसे नहीं कोऑपरेट करेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली द रिलेशंस वुड नॉट बी फ्रूटफुल, इट विल रिमेन एन इशू फॉर इंडिया, right? And then finally they do not provide us access to their market very readily. अब जैसे इंडिया अपने फार्मास्यूटिकल प्रोडक्ट सेल करना चाहता है या एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्ट्स वहाँ सेल करना चाहता है, बट इंडिया इज नॉट गेटिंग द एक्सेस टू देयर मार्केट्स वेरी रेडिली. दे इम्पोज आइदर ट्रेड और नॉन ट्रेड और नॉन टैरिफ बैरियर्स, राइट? WTO के अंदर ट्रेड या टैरिफ बैरियर्स तो इतना नहीं लगा सकते, बट दे यूज सैनिटरी और फाइटो सैनिटरी मेजर्स टू reduce the amount of imports they get from India, right? So that impacts relationship also. So this is the basic defining feature, you can say. This picture shows how England plundered a lot of wealth from India. The Kohinoo Diamond that you see, right, it originated from India, but now it is lying in the Queen's Crown, right? So they have plundered a lot of wealth from India. This again remains a irritant. You see Jallianwala Bagh incident, जिसके लिए आज तक Indians demand for a formal apology from the Britain government. ठीक है, हमें चाहिए कि they should acknowledge that they have wronged India, they have plundered India, they have committed a lot of human rights crimes in India. So they should apologize, they should acknowledge that they have done wrongs to India and they should apologize for their mistakes. ठीक है, तो ये सब example है how the relationships are not very fruitful between the two countries because हमारी historical जो है ties जो है वो positive नहीं रहे हैं historical time से, that means history is India UK's history is defined by their colonial relationship. So that remains a major irritant even today. They are not meeting the current interests also, they are also not apologizing or acknowledging the wrongs that they did in past. So obviously relations कैसे अच्छे हो सकते हैं, right? So this is the basic story of the India UK relationships. Now this is a small fun fact for you Kohinoo Diamond के बारे में. It's a famous story how it originated and how it moved out of India. So just quickly I'll let you know that, right? So see, this diamond first originated in the Andhra Pradesh area under the Kakitya dynasty. आपने हिस्ट्री में इफ़ यू हैव रेड एंशियंट मिडीवियल, जो बहुत लोग आराम से छोड़ देते हैं ये सोच के कि कौन सा क्वेश्चन आएगा, जबकि मेजॉरिटी क्वेश्चन आपके एंशियंट मिडीवियल से ही आते हैं, प्री और अब तो मेंस में भी. सो दैट इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट. एंड देयर दिस इम्पॉर्टेंट डायनेस्टी, काकित्या डायनेस्टी, it is believed that this dynasty was the first one to excavate this diamond from the mines, right? So after this dynasty excavated, after some time, Khilji, the famous Alauddin Khilji, जिसकी आपने मूवी भी देखी है पद्मावती, right? So he was the person at that time, I mean Khilji dynasty raided and plundered lot of wealth from this area of Kakatiya dynasty, and they also took away the Kohinoo diamond. ठीक है, तो अब देखिए आप, let's just see the movement of the diamond over India and then outside of India, right? So you see it originated somewhere here, right? Then it was taken away by the Delhi, the slave sultanate, the Khilji sultanate, Khilji dynasty took it to Delhi, right? It reached at the heart of India, right? From here you see that lot of invaders came from outside. One such invader was Nadir Shah. He took away the wealth of India, including Kohinoor diamond, to his own place, the area of Iran and all that place. So it was taken there by Nadir Shah, right? Now in Nadir Shah's family there started a lot of infighting. Succession के लिए बहुत लड़ाई हुई. तो नादिर शाह के एक successor ने, एक son, grandson ने, he took away the Kohinoor and he fled from that place, that is Iran. He fled away from there अपनी जान को बचाने के लिए with lot of wealth. He fled from Iran and came to India's Punjab, and here we had Maharaja Ranjit Singh, right? Maharaja Ranjit Singh was ruling in Punjab when he came. So he gives this Kohinoor diamond to Maharaja Ranjit Singh in return for security that Maharaja can provide to him from his other brothers and all that people who were chasing him, right? So us way mein it came back to India in this time, right? Then you see Maharaja Ranjit Singh could not, he died in 19th century, and after that his successor Duleep Singh was there on throne. He was just 9-year-old at that time. The second Anglo-Sikh war happened, and at that time majority of the Punjab's kingdom was lost to British, right? And Punjab's wealth was also taken over by British. So at that time you can say that was the fifth step of Kohinoor. The British Empire acquires this diamond by signing a treaty with the 9-year-old Duleep Singh, right? So this is the entire story of movement of Kohinoor. There are a lot of other stories related to Kohinoor which are very interesting. We don't have time to discuss them, but this is some general understanding that you should have, because some important dynasties are related, engaged here. Kakatiya dynasty, do read about this today after this session. Then the Khilji dynasty, right? Then Nadir Shah, an important invader of India, right? Then again Maharaja Ranjit Singh, very important ruler इन पंजाब, स्पेशली इस साल के पंजाब PCS में भी 2020 के महाराजा रंजीत सिंह की एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पे डायरेक्ट मेंस में क्वेश्चन आया था. सो ही इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट for your exams, especially Punjab PCS, right? And then the British Empire. You see, some of the most important empires and dynasties of our history are related to Kohinoo Diamond. That is why I discuss them here. Do read all these dynasties in detail after the session in your NCERT, right? So that was basically the story of Kohinoor. Now coming back to our topic, that is India UK relations. तो मैंने आपको already बता दिया है that India UK relations do not have a very strong foundation. ठीक है, rather negative, or you can say बहुत ही shallow level के relations रहे हैं. हमारी historical past has been not been conducive to us both. But अब क्या है कि पास्ट में जो हो गया वो ठीक है, बट बोथ दी कंट्रीज आर नाउ रियलाइजिंग ईच अदर्स इम्पोर्टेंस फॉर ईच अदर, राइट? इंडिया को रियलाइज हो रहा है कि इन मैनी वेज ब्रिटेन कैन बी हेल्पफुल फॉर इंडिया. ब्रिटेन इज ऑल्सो रियलाइजिंग दैट इंडिया इज अ वेरी key partner for its ambition around the globe, and that is why both the countries are now trying to resolve all the issues and the historical enmity that is present between the two nations at various level and trying to take the relationship forward. ठीक है, as a result of that we see the emergence of comprehensive strategic partnership in 2021. ठीक है, अपने सारे इश्यूज को रिजॉल्व करके अब दोनों कंट्रीज ट्राई कर रही हैं कि दे आर एबल टू कोऑपरेट in whichever sectors are conducive for their mutual growth. That is why they signed this comprehensive strategic partnership in 2021, that is last year. ये बहुत important है, इंडिया यूके पे कोई भी क्वेश्चन आता है, do mention this, that our relationship has been upgraded to the comprehensive strategic partnership level. ठीक है, comprehensive just means that in all the sectors or all the spheres, economic, geostrategic, political, security, everywhere, environment, everywhere we will cooperate with each other, right? So that is the level of relationship that we have. Now they are also trying to mend their political ties. ठीक है, इसीलिए आप देखिए बोरिस जॉनसन जो PM हैं ब्रिटेन के, उन्होंने he referred to Prime Minister Modi as his खास दोस्त or dear friend, right? So all the historical enmity that has been there between the two countries, they are trying to resolve that animosity and now create healthy, fruitful relationship with each other. So that is the defining element of the bilateral relationship of today's India and UK, right? So this is the key point in that. Now तो मैंने आपको कहा कि now they are realizing that they are very important for each other. Now let's just see briefly that what are the interests that are involved, right? किस कारण की वजह से they are coming together and joining hands towards a positive partnership, right? So first of all we will see कि why Britain needs India, and then we'll follow up with why India needs Britain, right? So India को देखिए आज के ज़माने में every country, European or non-European, needs India because of its market. It's huge market, rather I would say. It's huge market. ठीक है, market किससे बनती है? आपकी population से, right? जितने ज़्यादा लोग उतने ज़्यादा buyers, right? जितनी ज़्यादा buyers उतनी ज़्यादा बड़ी market, right? So see, India is the second largest populous country. First is China, but does not has an open market. तो कोई भी country है world की, वो China में तो freely operate नहीं कर सकती है. So the best market for them is India, which has democratic setup, right? Which has open economy, which has regulatory framework, जो free market economics पे based है, exactly what the West wants, Western model पे based है. That is why you see all the European countries, France, Germany, England now, UK, you can say, all these countries are eyeing towards India, right? Not even European, even the non-European countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, USA, every country wants to collaborate with India because they have keen interest in India's huge market, right? 1.3 billion plus होने वाली market इंडिया की कोई भी नहीं छोड़ना चाहता है. सो दैट इज द वेरी फर्स्ट रीजन दैट ब्रिटेन ऑल्सो वॉन्ट्स टू मेंड इट्स टाइज विद इंडिया. ठीक है, इंडिया के साथ इट वॉन्ट्स टू एक्सपैंड इट्स मार्केट बियॉन्ड यूरोप. ठीक है, अब यूरोप में तो उसकी मार्केट ऑलरेडी है. यूरोप में सी इफ यू हैव रेड वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री ऑल्सो, ब्रिटेन हैज बीन द वर्कशॉप ऑफ यूरोप. ठीक है, तो आप ये देखिए फ्रांस, जर्मनी, इटली, बहुत सारी जो भी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज आप जानते हैं, they have been depending on Britain for getting all these products. अगर आपने नेपोलियन टाइम पे पढ़ा है, कॉन्टिनेंटल ब्लॉकेड की पॉलिसी पढ़ी है, that was also meant to harm Britain and hurt its title of workshop of Europe. ठीक है, although that was unsuccessful. If you haven't read world history, you will get to know that. But that Europe has always been a big market for Britain and its goods. Now it wants to expand beyond that. Why? For two reasons. One is that Brexit has already happened. That is, Britain has exited from Europe. तो अभी जो freely trade करते थे, those luxuries are not present with Britain. They will have to face lot of trade barriers to trade with the rest of the Europe. That means their products can become incompetitive in the European markets. So they are now looking for ऑल्टरनेटिव मार्केट्स. ठीक है, वो फर्स्ट रीजन है. ब्रेक्जिट होने की वजह से दे विल नॉट गेट free access to European market, so they need to find alternative market. One such good market is India, right? The second reason is they also have a vision of global Britain, right? Global power बनने के लिए they need to expand their economy beyond European continent. They want to have access to the outside markets also. For that, for creating a global Britain brand also, they need India as an important market. ठीक है, so इन दोनों reasons की वजह से they are expanding beyond Europe and they need India as a strategic market, right? Second major reason why Britain needs India is again linked to the market only, but you see India, हम Indo-Pacific region में we are seeing increasing conflict. ठीक है, हम देख रहे हैं कि all the armies, all the countries, all the navies are shifting their attention towards the Indo-Pacific. So that means defense expenditure Indo-Pacific में बहुत बढ़ने वाला है. और Indo-Pacific में markets इंडिया के अलावा भी बहुत है, क्योंकि बहुत सारी developing countries यहाँ पे located है. आपकी वियतनाम, फिलीपींस, different developing countries, Bangladesh are located in this region, right? And this region is also going to be a major market for defense products, right? So इसी वजह से भी यूके को इंडिया बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट है, क्योंकि इंडिया अगेन इज गोइंग टू बी अ मेजर बायर ऑफ देयर डिफेंस प्रोडक्ट्स ऑल्सो. जैसे हम फ्रांस से हेलीकॉप्टर्स और यो फाइटर जेट्स वगैरह खरीदते हैं, वैसे ही यूके ऑल्सो वॉन्ट्स टू सेल इट्स डिफेंस प्रोडक्ट्स टू इंडिया for supporting its Indo-Pacific vision. इंडिया को डिफेंस अपना इंक्रीज करने की बहुत ज़रूरत है इंडिया पैसिफिक में. उसके लिए इट विल नीड मिलिट्री इक्विपमेंट्स फ्रॉम आउटसाइड एंड यूके वांट्स टू प्रोवाइड दोज इक्विपमेंट्स एंड वेपन्स, right? So that is where they will cooperate, right? Again, all the rest points are also related to having access to the growing economies market, right? And finally, to strengthen the bilateral relationship. That is why Britain needs India. Basically, the underlying fact is the market of 1.3 billion plus people. That is what Britain is eyeing. ठीक है, यही उनका बेसिक की इंटरेस्ट है. इस वजह से they are focusing on good relations with India. Now, why would India need Britain, right? अब क्वेश्चन है कि इंडिया भी क्यों कोऑपरेट करेगा यूके के साथ, जब इंडिया को इतने इश्यूज हैं, हिस्टोरिकल इश्यूज हैं ब्रिटेन के साथ. अपॉलॉजी नहीं मिली है, जलियांवाला बाग के लिए अपॉलॉजी नहीं मिली है, कोहिनूर वापस नहीं मिला है, प्लंडर्ड वेल्थ वापस नहीं मिली है. सो व्हाई वुड इंडिया कोऑपरेट? सो इंडिया ऑल्सो हैज़ मल्टीपल रीजंस. जैसे अभी आई टोल्ड यू दैट इन इंडो पैसिफिक द सिचुएशन इज़ वेरी फ्रेजाइल. वी नीड स्ट्रॉन्ग नेवीज देयर to fight the aggressive powers like China, you may say, in Indo-Pacific. ठीक है, so उसी के लिए India needs Britain because Britain has many naval facilities in Indo-Pacific. ठीक है, Indo-Pacific में various countries like Oman, लाइक सिंगापुर, लाइक बहरेन, केन्या, यहाँ सब जगहों पे ब्रिटेन का स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड है. दे हैव देयर नेवल प्रेजेंस, नेवल फैसिलिटीज इन दिस एरिया. सो इफ इंडिया कोऑपरेट्स विद ब्रिटेन, तो ये नेवल फैसिलिटीज को इंडिया भी यूज कर सकता है. एंड दैट इज हाउ इंडिया विल गेट नेवल स्ट्रेंथनिंग इन द इंडो पैसिफिक. सो इसीलिए उनकी नेवल फैसिलिटीज को एक्सेस करने के लिए गुड रिलेशंस आर इम्पॉर्टेंट, राइट. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, सी, इंडिया ऑल्सो हैज अ विजन टू क्रिएट almost 40% of its energy from non-fossil fuel based sources. ठीक है, ये इंडिया ने INDCs में अपने कमिट किया है, इंटरनेशनल नेशनली डिटर्मिन्ड कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस में. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी को इंक्रीज करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड दैट इज़ वेयर ऑल्सो ब्रिटेन कैन हेल्प बाय फंडिंग अवर रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी प्रोडक्ट्स, right. So that is also why we India needs the UK to get funding for its renewable energy products, right. Then further, India also needs UK's market, चाहे बड़ी चाहे छोटी. India needs to sell its products, like दवाइयाँ सेल करनी है, फिशरीज के प्रोडक्ट सेल करने हैं, एग्रीकल्चरल गुड्स सेल करने हैं. For all those, India needs to एक्सेस दी यूकेज मार्केट. जैसे हम ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ अभी FTA वगैरह करके बैठे हैं, वैसे ही इंडिया कैन ट्रेड विद दीज कंट्रीज ऑल्सो. सो फॉर एक्सपैंडिंग द ट्रेड रिलेशंस ऑल्सो वी नीड यूके, राइट. फर्स्ट तो है नेवल फैसिलिटीज को इंडो पैसिफिक में सिक्योरिटी को बोल्स्टर करने के लिए, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी को फंड करने के लिए, ट्रेड को प्रमोट करने के लिए, एंड फाइनली ब्रिटेन का जो इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे डिफरेंट वेज में स्टैचर है, ठीक है, उसको यूटिलाइज करने के लिए. ये UN सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल का परमानेंट मेंबर है. वी कैन यूज दैट status. If we have good ties, then we can get past resolutions favorable to India in the Security Council, right. It is also global financial hub. London आप देखिए, major businesses, trading, all that happens from London. So उस global financial hub की benefits को utilize करने के लिए also we need UK, right. It is also a center for technological innovation, right. बहुत सारी technological innovations यहाँ से originate होती हैं. तो we can collaborate on the research and development field, right. Knowledge sharing, technology sharing, in all those ways, right. Then in the cyber sector also, as you see, cyber is the fifth, you can say, limb of warfare these days that we are seeing, right. सो इसीलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम अपनी साइबर पावर को भी डेवलप करें, एंड दैट इज वेयर ऑल्सो यूके कैन हेल्प अस. ठीक है, सो इन मेरिड या इन मल्टीपल टाइप्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट के लिए इंडिया इज इंटरेस्टेड इन कोलैबोरेटिंग विद ब्रिटेन. ठीक है, अपने ट्रेड को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए, अपने रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के टारगेट्स को मीट करने के लिए, ठीक है, यूके की वर्ल्ड पावर होने का स्टेटस यूज करने के लिए, साइबर एरिया में कोऑपरेट करने के लिए, इंडो पैसिफिक में कोऑपरेशन के लिए. फॉर ऑल दीज रीजंस इंडिया इज कोलैबोरेटिंग विद ब्रिटेन, एंड इट इज अ वेरी हेल्दी पार्टनरशिप इफ वी आर एबल टू टेक इट फॉरवर्ड, राइट. सो ये बेसिक इंटरेस्ट है दैट आर इन्वॉल्व हेयर. राइट, नाउ वी कम टू द लेटेस्ट विजिट जो अप्रैल में बोरिस जॉनसन इंडिया में आए थे. उसके कंक्लूजन्स क्या है दैट वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग. ठीक है, तो बेसिकली इस विजिट में देर आर 4 पिलर्स यू कैन से ऑन विच द फोकस हैज बीन. ठीक है, फर्स्ट फोकस वाज ट्रेड, राइट. You see, Britain needs India's market. India also needs Britain's market. So both countries want to reduce the trade barriers, and that happens by the free trade agreements, right. That is the first stage of having स्मूथ ट्रेड बिटवीन दी 2 कंट्रीज. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे ट्रेड के पर्सपेक्टिव में बोथ कंट्रीज आर ट्राइंग टू get FTA signed by each other. Britain is very curious to get this FTA signed by Diwali, our Diwali of this year, and India is also saying that it will also try to make the process quick. अगर इंडिया के सारे इंटरेस्ट को ध्यान में रखा जाता है, so India does not has any problem in signing the FTA with Britain as quickly as possible, right. So सबसे पहले तो ट्रेड में यही try किया जा रहा है that FTA is signed. You see, India already has an FTA with UAE, Australia. Recently अभी sign किया था. We discussed this in our last lectures of IR on this Thursday videos, right? So उसके because of these FTAs also we are seeing lot of products that are coming from Dubai. आप कभी भी कोई product buy करते हैं, do check the made in something logo. You will see that many products are now coming from UAE, made in UAE or made in Dubai, Abu Dhabi. You will get these names a lot. Urdu or Persian is also written on those packets also. So that is the result of the FTA that India has signed with the UAE. So we are providing free market access of India to UAE to sell its products. That is why they are able to do business in India. So in the similar fashion, Britain wants to take the advantage of Indian market and get into a FTA. ठीक है, ये सब efforts चल रहे हैं. FTA अभी sign नहीं हुआ है, but there is a intention to sign it as early as possible. That is the first pillar of the current relationship, current visit that happened. The second idea is to have defense ties. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, UK like other countries, USA, France, Russia जो major suppliers हैं defense के इंडिया की तरफ, right? तो UK भी ऐसा ही एक डिफेंस सप्लायर बनना चाहता है. इंडिया UK wants to leverage the defense market of India, right? India lives in a complex territory. India has a complex neighbor, that is China. So India is threatened by China from the territorial border also, from the seas also, right, in the south. So India needs to increase its military expenditure. ठीक है, उस military expenditure say India is buying weaponry from outside, from USA, from Russia, from France. Now UK also wants to enter that market, right? That is why the defense has been the second major component of this visit, because UK wants to leverage this defense market of India, right? Third is cyber security. As I told you, cyber threats are increasing, are at all time high in the world. India is amongst the top 5 countries facing majority of cyber threats. ठीक है, तो अपनी cyber security को increase करना is India's motive, and UK can provide lot of technology in that regard, and UK will get in return what? Business or market of India, cyber market of India. So that is the next component of the bilateral relationship. And finally, climate change. ठीक है, UK and entire Europe is focusing a lot on creating green living system, creating green finance, creating new deals. They are working on these innovative methods to reduce the carbon footprint of the humanity. So India is also a major contributor in climate change, and India is working and wants to work in future in reducing its carbon footprint, and that is where Britain can help, and that is why also climate change is the fourth major pillar of the collaboration. ठीक है, तो इस साल जब विजिट हुई, these were the 4 pillars that were the major areas of concern for the 2 countries. ठीक है, so कोई भी question आए, you can mention these 4 areas. Right, now what has been the outcome? See, there has not been any concrete agreement or MOU, you can say, that has been signed. कोई भी concrete conclusion नहीं निकला है, बस they are showing their intention to work on the possible areas in future. ठीक है, तो जैसे उन्होंने कहा है कि 1 billion euros of new investments will be committed between 2 countries. दोनों countries एक दूसरे के economies में they'll be focusing on investing this amount of money, right? Then they are also looking for signing the free trade agreement by Diwali. This is another intention, right? Then UK is promising that it would not let Indian fugitives to take a shelter in England and go scot free. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो इंग्लैंड में आके शरण ले लें और उनके अगेंस्ट प्रोसीडिंग्स नहीं हो रही हैं. तो बोरिस जॉनसन ने वो भी कमिट किया है that he'll be taking measures to check the Indian fugitives, right? Next cooperation has been to ensure free and secure Indo-Pacific. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया that Britain wants the defense market of India, and India is already facing a threat in Indo-Pacific. So India के free and secure Indo-Pacific को realize करने के लिए, aim को realize करने के लिए, Britain will be helping by providing it weaponry or defense support, right? So to ensure free and secure Indo-Pacific, this will be the next area of cooperation between the two countries. Then the two countries will be focusing on cyber security and counter terrorism. Few देखिए बहुत सारे terrorism से impacted है UK भी and India also, we already know UK में भी you see lone wolf attacks बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं. So in this sector both the countries are trying to cooperate on information sharing, intelligence sharing. On that direction the two countries will be working, right? Then finally they will also focus on sharing technology in the defense and security field. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, Britain needs the market, India needs the technology, so both will be cooperating on easy transfer of these equipments and technology, and joint research and development पे focus करेंगे, joint production पे भी focus किया जाएगा. Not just that Britain will be supplying, it will be producing in India and sharing the technical know-how also with India, right? Then cyber domain में भी they will be strengthening their partnership in cyber domain also, right? Defense और security का बहुत important part है. So these all things will be done. And finally climate change mitigation पे the two countries will be collaborating. So there has not been any concrete outcome of the visit, but these are the intentions, these are the areas where the two countries want to collaborate. ठीक है? So जैसे जैसे इनके differences iron out होते जाएंगे, we will see one by one these ambitions getting realized. ठीक है, these visions getting realized. जो दो countries करना चाहती हैं, जैसे जैसे उनके relationships और smooth होते जाएंगे, इन सब areas में we will start seeing agreements also coming up, right? So अभी के लिए this is the important element of the bilateral relationship. Do make notes out of it and use them wisely. ठीक है? The next topic for today's discussion will be India-China. एक छोटा सा issue जो news में आया है that you can use in answers. That is what we will discuss here. Before that, just briefly see that how India and China are related. अब देखिए, this is India. This is the border that India has with China, right? This is basically the eastern sector. ये आप टर्म्स बहुत न्यूज़ में सुनते होंगे, दैट इज़ वाई आई एम क्लैरिफाइंग दीज टर्म्स. ईस्ट की साइड पे जो बॉर्डर लगता है चाइना और इंडिया के बीच में, दैट इज़ हेयर, दैट इज़ नोन एज द ईस्टर्न सेक्टर, राइट? दिस वेस्टर्न एरिया, दिस इज़ नोन एज द वेस्टर्न सेक्टर बॉर्डरिंग बिटवीन चाइना एंड इंडिया, ठीक है? और बीच का दिस एरिया, दिस इज नोन एज द सेंट्रल सेक्टर. सो मोस्टली यू सी सेंट्रल सेक्टर जो है मोर और लेस थोड़ा स्टेबल है. मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द कन्फ्लिक्ट यू विल सी इन द वेस्टर्न सेक्टर, और ईस्टर्न सेक्टर पे म्यूटेड लेवल ऑफ एग्रेशन रहती है चाइना की, राइट? ये किसी दिन हम डिटेल में वी विल डिस्कस इंडिया चाइना ऑल्सो. दिस इज अ ह्यूज टॉपिक, इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू डिस्कस इट इन स्मॉल टाइम, राइट? बट today we'll discuss one issue. So you see there are many Indian students that are studying in China. So जब COVID आया, majority of those students were, they came back to India. Now these students want to go back to the universities that they had joined in China, but China is not giving them visas or permits. It is preventing 22,000 Indian students enrolled in China फ्रॉम गोइंग बैक टू चाइना. इनिशियली तो चाइना ये कह रहा था कि इंडिया में बहुत कोविड फैला हुआ है, हम नहीं चाहते कि इंडियंस जो हैं चाइना में कोविड लेके आए, दैट इज़ वाई वी आर नॉट लेटिंग इंडियन पीपल और इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स कम टू चाइना. ठीक है, इनिशियली ये इन्होंने लॉजिक और रीजनिंग दी हुई थी. बट नाउ यू सी इंडिया इज मोर और लेस स्टेबल, कोविड इज नॉट इम्पैक्टिंग आवर पॉपुलेशन एट दैट लेवल एज वॉज देयर इन 2020 वी कैन से, राइट? तो अब तो अलाउ करना ही चाहिए इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स को, जो इतने बच्चे हैं जो पढ़ना चाहते हैं. चाइना इज नॉट अलाउइंग दैट, राइट? सो व्हाट इंडिया हैज डन नाउ in that response, India has suspended tourist visas for Chinese nationals. जिन Chinese nationals को tourist visa दिए थे, इंडिया ने वो suspend कर दिए हैं for the time being, जब तक China will not allow India's students to go back and study in China. ठीक है। तो ये सब आप इंडिया चाइना इरिटेंट्स में लिख सकते हैं कि कैसे इंडिया ने बहुत सारी एप्स इन रिस्पॉन्स टू चाइनाज गलवान अटैक, इंडिया ने बहुत सारी एप्स उनकी बैन की. इवन नाउ वी आर बैनिंग फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम देयर एप्स. नाउ चाइना इज retaliating in these ways also. This is one of the way, by not allowing our students, they are showing their aggression. ठीक है. तो इंडिया को भी उसके लिए कोई स्टेप लेना था, एंड इंडिया हैज बैंड देयर tourists from coming in China. So whenever you are talking about India China relationship, ये थोड़ा सा छोटा पॉइंट आप वहाँ मेंशन कर सकते हैं in the irritants, right? Now next very important topic, that is Guru Tegh Bahadur ji. इनका 400th birth anniversary we are celebrating this year since 2021, right? So that is why we would discuss the basics of his life and then the lessons from his life that you can use in your GS4 paper, right? So Guru Tegh Bahadur ji is the 9th Sikh Guru, right? He was born to Guru Har Gobind ji, who was the 6th Sikh Guru, right? ये खुद 9th गुरु हैं और ये 6th गुरु के बेटे हैं, राइट? इनका बर्थ जो है अनंतपुर साहिब में हुआ था, राइट? एंड ही वॉज पब्लिकली एग्जीक्यूटेड बाय औरंगजेब. दिस इज सम फैक्चुअल इन्फॉर्मेशन दैट यू नीड टू नो. आप पढ़ भी सकते हैं, स्पेशली पंजाब PCS के लिए दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, राइट? Now the important part for us is the teachings of Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, जो हमारी daily life को भी they can guide, and also in writing answers it is very useful, right? So the first teaching that he gave is that mastering the art of self control or emotional intelligence, as we may say. So what Guruji said? Guruji said that हमारी ज़िंदगी में there can be moments of joy, there can be moments of sadness, there can be moments of profit, there can be moments of loss. ठीक है. तो चाहे अच्छा हो चाहे बुरा हो, you need not lose your mental balance. ठीक है. इतना खुशी भी नहीं होना चाहिए, बहुत दुखी भी नहीं होना चाहिए, that you are not able to manage yourself properly. There should be a balance, a control that you should maintain between your emotions. ठीक है. ये वैसे ही आप कह सकते हैं जैसे Aristotle talked about golden mean. Golden mean का principle, that there should not be extremities of your emotions or feelings. ठीक है. Excessive anger या फिर कुछ feel ही नहीं करना. There should be a balance. ठीक है. That comes with self control. That is what Guruji said. We should have control over ourself, our feelings, our movements of joy, sorrow and all that stuff. Right? That is what is mentioned in this quote that he wrote. I'll read this out once for you. One who grieves not in misery and delights not in pleasure. ठीक है. दुख में दुखी नहीं होता, सुख में बहुत ज़्यादा जॉयस नहीं होता. Who is free from fear and attachment, जिसको कोई डर नहीं है, कुछ भी लूज करने का कोई डर नहीं है. एंड फॉर whom gold and dust are the same, जिसके लिए गोल्ड और मिट्टी एक समान है. Who has renounced both praising and blaming, ना तो वो अपनी प्रेज से खुश होता है, ना वो किसी को किसी चीज के लिए ब्लेम करता है, राइट? एंड who is immune to greed और वर्ल्डली अटैचमेंट्स, जिसको कोई लोभ लालच नहीं है. That is the person who attains the blessed state of spiritual enlightenment and merger with the Lord. ठीक है. तब जाके you acquire the union with God. You can relate this to the Advaita philosophy of Hinduism. See, all these religions teach the similar thing. It's just that we are not able to interpret them properly. We rely on the agents of God, as we say, and that is from where the misinterpretation of all these meanings come. So you see, all the religions are propagating the same idea of peace, harmony, self-control itself. So we need to learn that. That is what Guruji also said, that you need to keep a control over yourself, over your feelings, over your greed, over your joy, over your sorrow, right? सेंटर्ड रहेंगे जितना आप, राइट, जितना बैलेंस्ड रहेंगे, यू विल हैव अ हैप्पियर लाइफ एंड देर इज अ possibility that you attain the highest stage of spirituality. So that self control has to be exercised. That is the first lesson. Secondly, he says that we should learn to be content with our life. जो हमें जिंदगी में मिला है, we should be try to be happy with that. ठीक है, क्योंकि सब everything that we have got is Nanak's doing or God's grace to us. ठीक है, जो जैसा भगवान ने the life that we have been offered with, the various standards that we have been offered with, they are the best that God could provide to us. We should be content with whatever we have. There are many people who do not get even 2 times of food in their life. We are fortunate enough to get proper food, proper facility, proper house, proper education, health and everything. Still we keep complaining that we do not have enough. Right, so that is what Guruji says, that we should be content with whatever we have. There are many people who are even worse off, and not even that, still you are happy, you are with family. That is the level of contentment that you should have. So we should start practicing contentment, is what Guruji said. ठीक है, जितना भगवान ने दिया है भगवान की दया समझ के, you should stay calm and happy with that much, right? That is the second lesson that he gives. Right. The third lesson, a very important lesson, is to practice empathy and to make sacrifices for the people who are in need, or who need our empathy. Empathy का मतलब यही है कि दूसरे के दुख को फील कर पाना, दूसरे के प्रॉब्लम्स को समझ पाना. That is when you are able to empathize with the other person, right? So to be able to understand others' sorrow and to sacrifice yourself to reduce those problems or sorrows of the other person. ठीक है, that should be the motto of our life. That is what Guruji said. ठीक है, दूसरों के दुख को समझो और उसे कम करने के लिए अपनी लाइफ का सेक्रीफाइस भी देना पड़े तो भी उससे you should not step back, right? That is his teaching. Also a famous writer, Mitch Albom, he wrote in his book that sacrifice is a part of life. It's supposed to be. It's not something to regret. It's something to aspire to. राइट, कि सेक्रीफाइस को तो हमें अपना जीवन का गोल बनाना चाहिए. जो लोगों को हमारी ज़रूरत है, who need our empathy, who need our knowledge, who need our money, who need our mental support, we should provide that. And this sacrifice should be the aim of our life. That is what Guruji said. That is what this line says, that we should aspire to sacrifice. ठीक है, अपनी लाइफ को दूसरों की बेटरमेंट के लिए सेक्रीफाइस करना शुड बी अवर एम. वन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ सच एम्पथी और यू कैन से सेक्रीफाइस इन दी सिख रिलीजन इज पाई कन्हैया जी. अ वेरी गुड story that you can use in your ethics papers also, and also in your journal life to make your life more fruitful. You should know such personality. So you see, Pai Kanhaiya ji, at the time of a Sikh war with the Mughals, so he was feeding, or you may say he was giving water to these defeated Mughal people in the battleground. ठीक है, तो इस वजह से बहुत सारे सिख लोग जो हैं, they were annoyed that why he is giving water to the enemy's soldier, right? So he was called by the Guruji and asked that why are you doing this, that people feel that you are acting as a traitor. So what do you have to say in your defense, right? So listen carefully what Kanhaiya ji says. He says, Guruji, your teachings and Lord's teachings, they tell us that we need to help the humanity. For me, this is a person, this is a human who is in need of my help. I do not see him as a Muslim, I do not see him as an enemy, I do not see him as a soldier of an opponent, right? I just see him as a human who is in need of my help. And I I feel that helping him is my dharma, helping his is my duty, helping him is my duty, helping him is your word to us. ठीक है, आपने ये हमें सिखाया है कि हमें लोगों की, ह्यूमैनिटी की हेल्प करनी है, एंड दैट इज व्हाट आई एम डूइंग हियर. आई एम नॉट हेल्पिंग अ एनिमी सोल्जर, आई एम हेल्पिंग अ ह्यूमन, and that is the motto of my life, that is the teachings that you have provided to us, right? So that is the kind of spirit that we also should have. We should practice the same levels, or to whatever extent possible, the levels of empathy and self-sacrifice wherever possible. Be useful, be fruitful for the other people, right? That was a basic lesson, the third lesson of Guruji. The fourth and final lesson for today from Guruji's life is, he always urged his followers to be nirbhav and nirvair. Nirbhav means fearless. Do not fear anything that is there in life, right? If you are following the path of righteousness, if you are doing the right thing, then why fear? ठीक है, consequences can be anything, but why fear if you are doing the right thing? For example, you say Ashok Khemka, let's just take an example of a bureaucrat. So he has been following the right path according to him fearlessly. ठीक है, उसके consequence में he has been transferred multiple times by the government of different times, right? So why fear? Why should he fear when he is doing the same, he is doing the right thing, right? He is the example of how you can be nirbhav, do the right thing, help people, be empathetic, right? Then you need not be fearful of anything. That is what Lord said, God said, or Guruji said. Nirvair, do not keep any negative feelings with anyone, don't be envious or jealous of anyone. ठीक है, आपका competition should be you, the past you, the year-old you, the 2-year-old you, right? You should be focusing on improving yourself. जब आप exam की भी बात करते हो, your competition is not with the other people, your competition is really with you. ठीक है, आज आपको कुछ आता है, कल आपको उससे ज़्यादा आना चाहिए. योर डे, एवरी डे शुड बी अ लर्निंग प्रोसेस. एज एन एस्पिरेंट यू शुड एस्पायर टू लर्न समथिंग न्यू एवरी डे. ठीक है, दैट इज हाउ यू इम्प्रूव योर सेल्फ, रादर देन बींग एनवियस ऑफ वॉट योर फ्रेंड इज स्टडिंग, वॉट योर फ्रेंड इज रीडिंग, हाउ फार ही और शी हैज रीच्ड. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट you should focus on what you are studying every day, what you are learning every day, how far you have come every day, how far you have improved than your previous standards. That is the kind of life you should live, a life of righteousness that is fearless and that is away from any kind of envy or jealousy. See, we are not perfect beings, we have all these feelings. To some level they stay with us, but our aim in life should be to reduce these negative elements, negative energy as far as possible, and try to move towards the positive energy, the positive feelings, the positive agendas in life, right? In that way we make our life also peaceful and we also contribute in the betterment of the entire society. ठीक है, तो इसी वजह से this is very important. This was the next lesson from his life. Now finally we can call Guruji's lessons or ethics as the deontological ethics. ठीक है, ये terms आप बहुत सुनते रहते हैं, deontology, teleology. So I'll just discuss some basics of this deontology and teleology. The basic difference is that, देखिए, deontological ethics means that you are not relating the act with the ends. Let me take an example. जैसे आपके let's just suppose कि आपके सामने पड़ोसियों का घर is laying open, वो मे बी जल्दी जल्दी में लोक लगाना भूल गए, and you know that there is lakhs of money that is present in that house, right? Now you do not steal, firstly for the reason that it is not the right act to steal, because उस बंदे ने बहुत मेहनत करके they have earned that money and they should get that money. You have no right over that money that has been earned with the hard work or the labor of that person, right? So that would be the deontological approach, that you are doing the right thing because it is the right thing to do. ठीक है, आप चोरी नहीं कर रहे क्योंकि आपको पता है कि you do not have any right on that money. right? Now there can be the second perspective also. आपको पता है that there is lot of money that is laying there, you also want to get that money for yourself, but you are not stealing just because you know कि पुलिस आपको किसी ना किसी दिन पकड़ लेगी, right? So you are fearing the ends or the consequences of your action. So when you do a right thing because you fear the bad consequences, that is what is teleological ethics, right? Where your ends are justifying your means. ठीक है, आप एंड रिजल्ट गिरफ्तारी नहीं चाहते इसलिए आपने स्टीलिंग नहीं की, मे बी, राइट? यू आर फोकसिंग ऑन द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज, दैट इज व्हाट इज teleological ethics. Instead of that, when you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, that is the most ethical or moral or value based thing to do, that is when what we call as deontological ethics. When you focus on your duty, right? When you focus on results, that is teleological ethics. When you focus on your duty, your values, your learnings, ठीक है? जैसे कि झूठ बोलना is wrong just because that is not the right thing to do, that is when, that is what is deontological ethics. अगर आप झूठ इसलिए नहीं बोल रहे कि मम्मी की डांट पड़ेगी, मार पड़ेगी, that is teleological, right? So this is the basic difference, and as Guruji said that this is our duty to act in a righteous way, so that means he was talking about deontological ethics. ठीक है, तो अगर कोई एथिक्स में क्वेश्चन आए, यू कैन ऑलवेज यूज दीज एग्जाम्पल्स, ठीक है, वहाँ पे अपने आंसर को डिफाइन करने के लिए डिओंटोलॉजी टेलियोलॉजी का बेसिक डिफरेंस भी आपको यहाँ समझा दिया गया है. कोई क्वेश्चन आया तो यू कैन ऑल्सो यूज दिस in your answers, right? So that was basically all for this discussion. Hope it helps. If you have any doubt, post it in the comment box, we'll try to reply. Thank you so much for joining.